Good morning, Kathy Vick, deeply awake. As I was considering the radical idea of coming to you with this information today, I laughed out loud. I was taken by the same kind of excitement that I had a couple of years ago when I realized I could just come to the camera and speak and be kind of naughty because I wanted to say things that I'd never said out loud that I knew and know are new and taboo. So I realized I laughed because I thought I have that zing of I'm gonna go be naughty. I'm gonna go tell the truth. So here I am. I'm attaching a video, and it's an audio clip from Magenta Pixie. I woke up this morning in the most wonderful way. I just love it when I wake up in the middle of a dream. This is a dream I've had, I realized as I was in the afterglow of it. I've had this visitor many times. I've had this experience many times. And each and every time, I'm so happy. It's funny because in physical life, when something really stunning happens, it just makes me feel so good. I have the tendency to want to hang on to it, and that's not a good habit. It's a better thing to let something miraculous and stunningly beautiful and satisfying occur and carry it with me and be happy for it while not clinging to it. Tricky. But I've learned over the years, it's been, this has been a lesson that I've worked on for over 25 years of just letting good things be. It's weird. But I'm at a place now where it's easier. It's only because not a lot of really super great, like, those kind of things happen. So I tend to cling to them. It's understandable. It's understandable. But I realize that I don't have to cling anymore. I'm grateful when I have an insertion of wonder and comfort and peace when I'm given that gift. But I know I can generate that now. And I couldn't before. And that's sort of what I want to talk about. It was an early realization that I wrote about when I realized that in my life, the times that utterly changed me for the better, where I had hope and I felt like I could go on, was when I had either royally screwed up, just done something bad, and been forgiven, truly forgiven, and let off the hook. Or better yet, I would be visited by someone who would make it clear to me that I hadn't been doing anything wrong. It was fine. That's a release and a relief that I need sometimes, because I'm hard on myself, or I was. So anyway, I started out the day just feeling full, feeling visited, and happy. And in my travels, I realized I was going to make it to my desk, and I was going to be doing some of my book today, and I felt good about that. And then I listened to some Magenta Pixie. Wow. I'm attaching the one that really kind of sent me into the naughty zone. It's about Starseed Origins and timeline jumping. And it's important information for those who are like me, who came in longing for home, and who have known physical pain because they know they don't belong here. They're not from here. They're foreign. That was me. Luckily, I had friends who were like that too. It's easier when you have the ability to walk with your tribe, at least from time to time. I knew I wasn't from around here. I knew I didn't like it here. I didn't like the people here. I didn't like what happened to me, and I didn't like what happened to others. I didn't like the choices people made, and I didn't like how I felt. Nobody talked about the things I understood in my skin, even as a child, especially as a child. So I knew I wasn't from around here, but I didn't know where I was from. When I went to my teachers in the 90s, I asked where I came from. Where am I from? They told me I was from what is sometimes called the blue planet. That that it's beautiful. And they wouldn't tell me anything more, because if they told me more, I wouldn't stay here. And at that point in my awareness and my journey, that is indeed the case. I wanted out actively until 2012. It was something that I accepted about myself. It wasn't active suicidality. It was passive, and it was resignation, basically, which sort of turned into an iron coffin. It is, it sort of, everything sort of went toward the end, and I really felt I had a period of contraction that lasted many, many years. I had my great teachers in the 90s, and then I went bareback. I went without any kind of guru, and I tried to put this together on my own from 94 forward, and without the benefit of the New Age community, and I don't know. It was tricky. Kind of walked away from some things, putting things together. And the questions about where I'm from finally began to seem answerable once I hit 2011, 2012. So, in my work, the first energies that I realized I was aligned with were Pleiadian energies, and I had contact with my first Earth life here, and I was a woman, and I had blue skin, and I wasn't from here, and my mate from far away was incarnated in the human body with whom I mated. And the agreement was that that's how we seed. So there you go, for what it's worth. That's where Magartha comes from, grandmother. So, Pleiadian energy was very strong at the beginning, and I'm really at peace with knowing that that's a star group that I'm aligned with. But then I began to scratch my head as things progressed, and by about 2016, questions about, or 17, questions about where I truly am from, they were finally answered. The Pleiadian stuff was helpful because, Lemuria was a Pleiadian enclave, and what we did there was important. We're living out the benefits of having gone through that civilization now. But I knew I wasn't truly Pleiadian in my soul of souls, so I kept searching. Lyra, very important planet. Vega. That felt like home for a long time. But this is when I started having visions, galactic visions. In 2016, 2017. And although Vega and Lyra both felt really good, my visions and my life took me to Antares. And the vision I had in late April 11/11 of 2012, when I understood that I was witnessing a very, very holy birth one night while I was on a break, looking at the stars. The son of Antares is born. The son of Antares is born. So I have organic information about my origins, okay? But the last year or so, I have understood some profound and fundamental things about this origin stuff. That's why I'm tacking on this Magenta Pixie talk, because it describes my arc. I began to feel like foolish in a way, that how could I have identified so fully with Pleiadian energy, with Lyran energy, Vegan energy? How could I have known that's where I'm from? But I had seen, I had had a vision. 11 planets completed in the ascension process, each holding a chakra in the body of this being. And we're the 12th, and we will go on to see the 13th. We will go on. And so it became very clear to me when all was said and all was done, looking at that body, remembering in my quiet moments, and then inhabiting time and no time, space and no space, becoming that still point over coffee, quietly. I'm from all those planets. I have been through this before. That was made abundantly clear to me by the teachers. And I am the teachers are me. So, when I began to realize that that's why I resonated with certain planets, that's why I am entirely galactic, and that's why it's been so hard for me to commit here, because I wanted to be elsewhere. Why not? If I really have been through all of that, if my soul contains all of that, and of course it does, then it's understandable to get frustrated with, I don't know, bouncing a check or having a car accident or having a love affair crap out on me or whatever freaking drama occurs in the physical with my fellow freaking companions who don't think this way, many of them. Well, the question has been, do I how do I do this comfortably? How do I define myself if I know all this stuff? How can I feel at home here when I'm speaking a different language from my companions 9 times out of 10? Well, obviously it comes from not being a martyr about it. God. Being grateful, you think? I think. Being a little bit more untroubled. It's a great gift to know what home is. And to me, when all is said, all is done, all is seen and heard, felt, known, I understood even when I saw that unimaginable expanse and felt each of those ascensions, each of those victories of each of those planets. What's the point? Why? What has led me? What has comforted me? What has trained me? What has quieted me? Always. There are a lot of words for it, but I call it God. Call it Source if you want. I've known that reverence, that devotion, that love since childhood. The idea of just being able to kneel and look up and gaze into God. Everything else is just an explanation. It's just an adventure, an expression, an experiment. Source. And I had, been reading Dolores Cannon on and off for a long time, and there were beings who would come from, go through the sun, and they're angelic beings. They are from God. They're angels, and they're here, but they don't align with any particular planet. They just know they're from Source. Well, I urge you to listen to Magenta Pixie because this particular recording, because she explains, or they explain, this progression. Now, I'm living proof that it's the truth, at least for me. My love and reverence and devotion to Source, to God, has never altered. It's never changed. And that feeling that is not me conjuring a sensation, but it's an allowing of the truth of just being able to feel that energy, quieting down and feeling it. That's home. And now I really do get that part of this has to do with the chakra system. I did come online cosmically a lot, I think more willingly than I came online in my root chakras and my base. I have obviously, with the disease that was in my hip and the absolute pain it caused me to put weight on that leg. One time they came through and said, look at you, dear. You can't even touch the earth without pain. You don't believe this is a supportive place. It hurts to be here. Your body's showing you this. This is your belief. And it's funny because the last month and a half, 2 months, I have talked a lot about how much safer I feel. And realizing how unsafe I actually was. And how unsafe I felt. You're unsafe when you're around someone who is willing to hurt you or to not think on your needs, only their own, and you're not allowed to speak. Then you're not safe. Victims are not safe. So I worked through a lot of stuff around bullying, around victim, perpetrator, rescuer model, all of that stuff. And it's out there spinning on the internet, and if you want to watch it and deal with it with me, go right ahead. It's valid, it's important, and if you're a female, and you've been through half of what I've been through, there's some things to work through that men don't work through. They don't have to. They don't have to. Yes, they have other things to work through. But women, speaking power, women empowered, that's important. And it shifts the balance. And I see how subservient and how silent I still am sometimes. How twisted my energy gets. How angry I get. But I've also seen why it is these things are on my radar. And I feel as if, well, I have evidence, and I just have at least a little bit more awareness. Sometimes my energy is not high, and it's just enough to be aware. I don't have the energy to change it, to flip it, to change me, my perception, my reactions. It's too much work. But at least I'm an observant participant. And I'm not talking about solitary pursuits. I'm talking about, socialization. Anyway, this progression is one that it's an important one that a lot of people go through, and I think it starts with just verbalizing this discomfort of just not knowing that you're not home, and it goes from there. And for me, this was 50 whatever years, 57. It was a process. And I really do like that, ascension isn't something that you just, send away for and it comes in the mail and you open up and go, oh, well, this is nice, and that's the end of it. It's not like that. It's generated by curiosity and excitement and discovery. And Yet when these things that are outrageous are discovered, honestly, almost every single time, it's like, oh yeah, I already knew that. Somewhere deep inside of me, I know I'm just opening my eyes to something that was always there. So, in a way, it is sort of a big cosmic joke that we're playing on ourselves, but what a fun thing it is. And this is kind of naughty because I'm really sort of laying it out there. But it's time. So, yeah, I guess since I had that meditation and all that stuff, that it's probably easiest for me to just say, yeah, Antares is the planet that I resonate with most. What do I know about Antares? Not much. I know it's a red giant. But I know that once you enter it, it's a water planet. Whew. I know more, but I don't want to say. I've already said, and I'll let it stand. So it is at once alienating and comforting to have all of this information and love and connection like stardust on my skin, like a film I look through, like a coating on my tongue. It's nice. It makes all things possible because I can play a little bit more unworried. I think that the fun is lost when I believe that the stakes are real high. I walk with a pain that I am truly an embodiment of Chiron. I am a wounded healer, and there is a wound that just doesn't ever close in me, that is entirely human. Entirely human. But which has very deep and galactic roots, and is really only felt and expressed in physical form. On the other side, there's symmetry. On the other side, there's union. And so, yes, I really resonate with the things that Cryon said about being a galactic, knowing that this is a fraction of what I am. I'm not complete. I'm bigger than this. I think that's one of the reasons I got so fat. It's the reason why a lot of us get fat. Cryon, they call it fortressing. It's a reminder, it's a comfort to be big. It's a metaphor. So I think it's this knowing that there's something missing that was, where am I from? Where is my home? And as the answers came, because the questioner would not cease. The peace came. The comfort came. And finally my physical reality is responding with more safety. It took a long time. So, I wanted to pass that on. It's one last thing. I work a lot with this ascended master energy, okay? And that to me is like that's my earth home, is that energy. But it needs to be reconciled with this galactic energy in a way that consecrates the daily walk, certainly, informs it. But I think that sometimes it's forgotten that our work here as human beings has elevated the cosmos, has changed our history. And there are things available to us now that we didn't think could ever be accomplished in physical form. It's pretty amazing. And I'm already like feeling this pull to someplace new. Isn't that neat? But in the meantime, the physical just doesn't, I'm just not as troubled. Maybe it's because I woke up with a really wonderful gift in my dreaming body. Maybe. The last few days have been energetically very constrictive, very unpleasant, just energetically just an unpleasant feel to it. And that is gone. I was brushing my teeth this morning, commenting on that in my mind, and realizing that, it's really wonderful thing, and it's beautiful, and it's fun to not only imagine, but to experience how everything can change with a night's sleep. So much is generated by how we feel, where our energy's at. And it's okay to have dips. They're purposeful. But even in the dips, what helps me is remembering about God. Always. Now, the last, I would say, about 6 months. It's just a comfort that I always have. And it's nice. I know that we all have our own understanding about what that word means, and many are triggered very negatively by it. So I do urge you to use the word source if God is negatively weighted for you. But for me, it's home. And that ascended energy, ascended master's energy, is the most concrete expression or translation of home, of that source energy that I know. And then, but there are so many translations of it. The Hindu faith, the Jewish faith, all these faiths. Just different dialects. Just different planets in a body of God. So there you go. Happy, I don't know what comes up. I'm just, for me, all bets are off until, well, anyway, for me, this is an activated time. I have like an activated 6 months and sort of a dormant 6 months, and this is an activated six months. This from usually my birthday to like, which is in late February, to late September. It's sort of a real big push, And I did one tape where I talked about the fractals, and it's really freaky deaky in the last 6 years, that on the even years, I have actual physical events, or a year of them, that are absolute game changers. 12, 14, 16 game changers. And then I had a rest year. So I've been thinking about that, and yeah, I mean, right after my birthday, I had surgery, and it's so that's something that happened this year, and that brings all kinds of changes, watershed changes. So maybe the hip is my big deal, but I really feel like I am on a roller coaster. And I haven't had a lot of sparkles, but I really feel like I'm on a roller coaster, and my seatbelt is really tight, and I'm holding the bar, and I can like feel in my body the clack, clack, clack as we're going up. And it's like I'm blind. My senses haven't really all come online yet, but I can feel the clack, clack, and I know I'm at a really steep incline. And I know I'm in for the ride of my freaking life. Yeah. Yeah. One of them. There's always more. So yeah, there are droughts in life, and there are floods. And then there are, hopefully for you, decades of simple agrarian life, or wonderful urban life, whatever you like. I feel like I'm kind of settling finally, and I feel as if this scrambly, purposeful, evolutionary thing that I have been a witness to, and have simply try to describe and put on the web, so that if anybody else is going through it, they might be helped. That this all can sort of culminate for me, finish for me, and I can walk in safety into whatever I choose, whatever makes sense. So truly, that victim mentality is still super strong in me, and it was really like just really bearing down on me, and now it has been dissipated, which is very nice. There's a lot more I could say, but I think that I'll end, and I want to say thank you for following along, and I hope that you're enjoying watching this process, because for me, I'm enjoying it, and for me it's gratifying to see what appeared to be not chaos, but a dissolution, and it's like think of it as a really tight ball of rubber bands that in 2012 just got cut in half, and or maybe just drilled down enough so that over time they could do nothing but begin to crack and break. And now it's 18, and there's just a pool of rubber strings on the ground now. I think that it's time to just repurpose the material. And that dissolution was confusing. I knew that it was on purpose and everything was on track, but it was, all I could do was trust. All I could do was live in integrity to what I believed was happening to my heart day to day, because it was so jangling, and so much of what I was discovering and understanding was altering my perception of causal reality, of my relationships, of myself. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the rubber band pieces. I don't know. I think probably put them on a canvas and paint them and make it pretty. What about that? It'd be kind of fun. I don't know. But maybe I just sweep it up and throw it away and realize it was just a fun little game that I played. But it's not me. I'm the one who made up the game, and now I'm the one who's cleaning up. I think I like that best. Taboo City. I dig it. Have fun this week. I hope it catches you prepared. Namaste.